In the course of the last 1,000 years, we've gone from saying, "I'll die before I am dishonored," to saying, "I'll rise above this," to today, where the norm is to say, "Look what they did to me." It looks like we've gone from defending our names with duels to defending our feelings with posts. But what happened exactly? More specifically, how did we go from a culture of honor to a culture of victimhood?
I know it may be hard to understand. It's hard for me to hear myself say, but I just wanted it to stop. I wanted things to just be okay.
So in pre-modern societies, especially tribal or warrior cultures, honor was everything. It was about your reputation, courage, and the ability to protect your family and tribe. If somebody insulted you and you did nothing, you lost face. Not just socially, but morally. This is called an honor culture. For instance, in ancient Greece, the feared warrior Achilles, who loves himself a battle, withdraws from battle, not because he's tired or weak, but because his honor was insulted. In the 19th century America, cowboys would duel, sometimes to the death, over insults and accusations. In these societies, strength and dignity were moral values. Suffering was shameful unless it came from sacrifice. With the rise of modern liberal democracies, especially from the 18th to 20th centuries, society shifted towards what sociologists call a dignity culture. This meant that people were expected to tolerate small insults and resolve conflicts through legal or institutional means, not barbaric violence. Being offended didn't grant the moral high ground. Dignity meant composure, self-control, and resilience. For example, in the early 20th century America, children were taught, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me." This culture promoted internal strength over public retaliation. The strong person didn't need to prove anything, and they avoided sinking as low as their enemies. But the late 20th century saw a shift, particularly on university campuses in the United States.
Fuck you and fuck the police!
Are you aware that there is a trans boy who killed himself in psychiatric care recently because he was continuously being misgendered by his care workers?
Sociologists began to observe a new cultural trend: victimhood culture. Now, moral status isn't gained by strength or discipline, but by publicizing one's suffering. Being offended isn't something to overlook, it's something to announce. Sociologists Bradley Campbell and Jason Manning describe this shift as one where, quote, "victimization is used to assert moral authority and demand recognition." In social media, people compete in what's been called oppression Olympics, where whoever is most marginalized holds the most moral authority. This cultural evolution wasn't random though. Several forces contributed to it. Here is Abraham Maslow's famous model, which illustrates the hierarchy of needs. In the model, we can see that when basic survival is secured, people turn inward. When the problems are no longer material and physical, the psychological problems gets more attention. As a consequence, emotional harm becomes a new frontier of injustice. Essentially, the safer society becomes, the more focus shifts to psychological safety. And social media doesn't really help with this. Platforms reward visibility. Victimhood becomes a way to gain attention, sympathy, and even money. Going viral for being offended is now a real incentive. It's something that motivates people, and the outrage it generates becomes currency. And lastly, modern psychology isn't innocent in all of this either. Modern psychology reframed trauma as central to identity. Rather than overcoming suffering, people are encouraged to center it. Self-expression replaced self-control as the core virtue. Your truth replaced the truth. But I want to be clear. While it's important to validate suffering, building identity around victimhood has serious side effects. It discourages resilience, and it shifts public discourse from solutions to performative outrage. Even worse, it flattens morality. A rude tweet can now be treated with the same outrage as physical violence. Everything becomes trauma, and trauma becomes identity. Is there even any hope of rebalancing this? The answer isn't to go back to duels and repression, but we also can't move forward if victimhood is the new virtue. What we need is a return to dignity, the ability to acknowledge pain without making it your whole personality, to be brave enough to seek justice without needing an audience, and to endure quietly and move forward with a goal.